Good evening. Good evening. Giving enough people enough time to come in. Do some free live Q&A. Have some questions. Doing some live Q&A for the freight broker side. I haven't been here in a while. So any questions about being a freight broker? How is that done? How do you get your broker authority? What is the definition of a freight broker? Um, what are the requirements? So, and then receiving text messages. So first of all, we wait on people to come in. While we wait on people to come in, I'll go ahead and start some general thing. So we are in the transportation industry. We transport goods, or the carriers, the truck drivers transport goods. They pick them up from the shippers, and then they safely and securely transport them to the receivers. Shippers being the consignor, shippers being the consignor, receivers being the consignee. Okay. Um, where is the freight broker involved in that process? Right. First of all, what is a freight broker? So, if you have any questions about tonight, we're going to do a live, free Q&A session. So, if you have any freight broker questions, go ahead and shoot them. Okay. What is a freight broker? Right. What is freight brokering? What are shippers? What are carriers? Broker packets? Things of that nature. So, any questions? Hello, everyone. Those of you who are in, snap the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, and we will go from there. Okay. Any questions about what is being a freight broker? And you want the truth about it, right? You don't want to. What the kids say nowadays, you don't want to. I don't want to cap, no cap, even though no pun intended. But I guess that means lying, right? No lying. I'll give you the truth about being a freight broker and what that all entails. So if you have any questions, if you thought about becoming a freight broker, you're on this channel for a reason. You subscribe to the channel for a reason. So you must have some questions and concerns about what a freight broker is. And excuse me for a second, I was responding to a text that I received earlier. So a logistics provider, someone who arranges for the transportation of the freight, of the cargo, of the commodity, right? This is something you want to get in. So, hello, LaDonna. How are you? LaDonna is a freight broker. So, but logistics provider, someone who arranges for the transportation of freight. If you're on this, good. If you're on this channel, you have subscribed to the Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. It must have some kind of interest for you, right? Areas Oasis. Hi, all. So I'm entertaining free live Q&A right now. Right now. Freight Broker 101. Everything freight brokering on the domestic side, not a customs broker, but a freight broker on the domestic side, managing and handling and tendering your customers' shipments for your customers at a profit for your brokerage, and what's all involved in that. What is the system of freight brokering? So I've been here for almost 5 minutes, and I want to entertain some. You're welcome. Some Q&A, some questions. So shoot your questions. No questions about brokering? None? Are you sure? Now, someone just mentioned to me earlier that I rarely come on the the freight broker side of the YouTube channel, and that's true. And I apologize for that. I've been busy with the dispatching side and other ventures, but I'm here now, right? And every time I come with a live, if you clicked your notification bell, it should alert you that when the channel goes live and what the subject's going to be. So, Freight Broker 101 training for beginners, right? Free Q&A, free live Q&A. So, what are your questions? What are your freight broker questions? How many of you in here now um, have a freight brokerage, or how many in here of you in here now are applying for your broker license or your broker authority? How many of you in here now are um, entertaining getting some type of freight broker training because you have an interest in the industry, in the transportation industry as a logistics provider, freight broker? So everyone has hit that thumbs up. That's very good. So, but I'm surprised there's no questions. So I had several people who wanted me to come on here, and now that I'm here, there's no questions. So this is going to be a short um, live, and you'll thank me later, right? But there's no questions. What's the I don't want to be on here. I don't want to waste none of your time, right? If you have everything you need from our portal, then that's good. Hey, Crystal, how are you? So I'm doing a live, Crystal. I'm doing a live um, Q&A. James Anderson, I have my authority. Would Ascend be the best system to start off with? That's a very good question. So what James is asking is, Ascend is a TMS system. TMS stands for Transportation Management Software. What it does is it centralizes all the data that a freight broker would need to manage their processes and the workflow of their company. Okay. Um, if you have enough shippers, James, and anyone else for that matter, to substantiate the need for that, I would say when it does come to a point where you do need a TMS system, I would say Ascend would be a good starting point because it's user friendly, easy to use. You can navigate it pretty nicely, and it's cost efficient. It's pretty inexpensive, right? And particularly for you new brokers who don't have a lot of shippers, you're not moving a lot of loads, you don't have a lot of shipments from one or two shippers, or maybe even three, and you don't have a lot of carriers to manage, right? So your book of business, your customers base is not as large yet. So um, I would even entertain a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet to kind of mitigate that till you need to import that data into a TMS system, right? TMS systems contain things like who the customers are, who the carriers are, whether or not you are an asset based brokerage or not. You have your own assets or not, right? Um, and other things, document management, financials, things like that. Everything is centralized with a TMS system. It is a CRM fused with a CMS. What is a CRM and what is a CMS? A CRM is a customer relationship management platform. CMS, Charlie Michael Sam, is a customer management system. Okay, so they put the two together, integrate the data. You can manipulate it and use it for your brokerage. A lot of TMS systems integrate with load boards. You can get BOLs funneled in there. You can build rate confirmations. You can integrate the load boards where you can pass the data from your tendered load tender into a rate confirmation, or you can post the information on a load board. TMS is Ascend is one of those. So what else do they have? They have in their settings, you can edit the fields to customize the user experience or the user interface to your liking. You can tailor it to your customize it to your brokerage. Because out of the box it comes pretty standard, right? So, but yes, Ascend is a good starting one, James, and anyone else for new brokers, especially from a budget standpoint. So, are you capable of generating a rate confirmation without a TMS system? You certainly can. Yes, it just streamlined. You can manually create a rate confirmation. It's just transferring the load tender amount from the shipper, taking off your margin or your percentage, and then creating a rate confirmation document for the carrier, what you guys agreed to, you and the truck driver. Let's say, for example, you have a shipper and they tendered you or gave you a load to move for them at $3,000. And then as a broker, you charge, I don't know, 15, 20% for your services as a broker because you are the middle person, right? So 20% of the, what did we say, 2,000? 20% of 2,000 is like $400, right? So you've taken 400 off the top for your margin, your percentage, your profitability, if you will. And then, so you have what's left. What's 400? What's 400 from 2,000 is 1,600. Now your rate confirmation is not going to be 1,600. It'll probably be something less, right? Because you want to give yourself wiggle room to work with the carrier and negotiate the money, right? So when you post that load on the load board, instead of posting it for 1,600, post it for like 1,375, 1,400. So you got a $200 spread right there. So when the carrier calls you and try to negotiate up, you still have that spread to work with. Let's say, for example, you and that carrier finally agreed to about 1,550. It's still under the 1,600. So you create a rate confirmation that's going to have the 1,550 on it that you're going to let the carrier, because the rate confirmation is the agreement contractually between the truck driver, the owner operator, and you, the broker, to pick that load up from a shipper and deliver it to the receiver. And then you owe contractually the carrier what was signed for on the rate confirmation, 1,550. So what's left on the original tender was 2,000. So 1,550 from 2,000, that's 450. So you got your $400 spread plus that extra $50, right? So, but when you invoiced as a broker, when you invoice the customer, how much are you invoicing them for? $2,000. And then you give the 1,550 to the carrier and you keep the change, right? The load tender is going to be a constant number. The broker is going to always invoice the customer, the shipper, whatever that tender was for. What they paid to the carrier is a different story. Okay, and that's through the rate confirmation. Okay. Is it necessary for a broker? This is Crystal asking, is it necessary for a broker shipper contract, since I am not asset based and the carrier should assume all the liability? Of course it is. It is always necessary. So you have to have, as a freight broker, Crystal, you need two contracts. You need, because you have two customers as a freight broker. You have the shipper with whom you are agreeing to move their loads for. That's a contract. And then you have the motor carriers or the owner operators who you are agreeing for them to move the loads for you, for your customer. Okay, so you need a broker shipper contract in order to get the loads or to procure the loads, right? And then you need a broker carrier contract in order for the carrier to agree to whatever numbers you said, rate confirmation, to move the loads for you, pick them up from the shipper location, deliver, or the consignor, and deliver them to the consignee. So there are two contracts involved there. Okay, so yes, you do need that. James Young said, hello, Mr. Charles. I have an asset, but I haven't move forward to the broker level because I'm behind the wheel. Okay, so you are an owner operator. I'm assuming, Mr. Young, the owner operator or company drive. You say you have an asset, so if it's yours, then you're owner operator. Okay. So, um, would it be wise to move to the broker level behind the wheel, or should I find a driver? Find a driver first, one you can trust. Put him in your truck under your authority. Let that run while you are building up your brokerage and getting your broker license. That way, the truck is still moving and you're making money on your carrier side, right? And then you're going to form your brokerage company uh, with a broker license, a business license as a freight broker or a transportation company, or whatever you call yourself, James Young's Freight Brokerage, whatever, right? Or logistics, Young's Logistics, right? Which is doing business as a brokerage, right? So, but yeah, find a driver first. That's going to be a challenge because finding a good driver is a challenge today, right? Because drivers are prima donnas at this point, right? They're all in their feelings and all this other stuff, right? Crystal says, I ask because I've been doing cold calls and I've come pretty close, but once I send my welcome packet, I never get the broker shipper contract back signed. So in most cases, well, not most cases, but I would say about 50% of the time, most shippers want to have you sign their contract as opposed to you or them signing your broker carrier agreement because they are giving you their freight. So they want you to agree to their terms, right? But as a brokerage, as a company, you still want to protect your interests as a freight broker. So you send them your broker shipper contract, which contains the stipulations. What do you require of the shipper? Do the shipper pay any accessorials? Yada, 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 whatever the stipulations are in the broker shipper agreement, right? And we have in our Freight Broker 101, I don't know if you guys are members in our trainings, but we have templates for uh, different template styles for the different agreement packets between the broker and the shipper and between the broker and the motor carrier. So, okay. I'm multitasking here too, guys, because I'm getting um, messages too. But any other Q&A questions? I want to make sure I get you guys because I want to come in and get some questions answered for you guys. So, okay, Crystal says she got it. All right. All right, let me respond to that. All right, so any other questions? Thanks for all you do, bro. You have a good product. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, just want to keep it basic for you guys and make sure that we get your questions answered. This is a free Q&A, right? Broker questions, startup, how do you get your authority from the very basic foundational level, right? Applying with your OP1 form at the the fmcsa.dot.gov website /registration, going in the URS system, the Unified Registration System, and starting that application with the OP-1 form online through the FMCSA's website, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Filling that out, selecting as the operating type, broker of property except household goods, and finishing that process, selecting the cargoes that you're going to broker, cargo that's going to be carried by your carriers that you on board, and that you're going to be an interstate broker dealing with customers all over the country. Finish that application process, pay the $300 non-refundable one-time fee, and then you have to apply for a bond, right? Bonds this year or these past years have been $75,000 one-time annual premium payment for that $75,000 coverage. Okay, so that's based off of your credit. So if you have good credit, the better your credit, the lower the premium is for that one-time annual payment for the bond. Okay, so that's that. And then You have to have a UCR, Unified Carrier Registration, although you are a broker, asset or non-asset based. You have to have a BOC3, blanket of companies, which designates a process agent for your brokerage, right? Someone who can, when claims are dealt with, they can deal with that on the legal side of that, right? So claims are filed against a broker's bond because of unethical behavior or whatever that caused the claim. That's at the fault of the broker. The BOC3 or the process agent steps in and takes the process from there, and the process company deals with that. So, okay. Um, so that's the process for your authority to become active. You will be issued a grant letter with an MC and DOT number, but it's not active until those other requirements are met by the FMCSA, namely the filing of the surety bond, which is the BMC 84 filing by the bond company, the BOC3 filing, which is the designation of a process agent, filing with the form BOC3 with the FMCSA, letting them know that, hey, this person has met that requirement, right? And any other requirements, supplemental insurance, things of that nature, contingent cargo, errors and omission. So after that, your authority becomes active. Also in that process, it rarely happens, but there is a 10-day protest period where someone can protest the fact that you have applied for a broker authority, broker of property except household goods. They may feel that you're not worthy to be a freight broker for whatever reason, jealousy, envy, hate, whatever. And once that has come and gone and all other requirements have been met, you will be issued a broker license. So that's what it's called. Your operating authority as a freight broker is called a broker license. The operating authority for a motor carrier is called a certificate. Okay, that's how you tell the difference on the letter, the MC authority letter that you receive via mail or email. If it says license on it, it is for a freight broker. And the verbiage in the paragraph under that also says it. Broker of property except household good or whatever category you called yourself, maybe household goods broker. So after that, I would suggest as an instructor or an advisor, if you will, teacher, to work on your infrastructure, your back office. Work on getting your potentially your load boards, your software as far as your Word software, Microsoft Office, perhaps. Work on getting TMS systems, possibly if you need. I doubt if you need it starting up because you don't have your first customer yet, right? Work on setting up your documents because if you talk to a shipper, let's say you bumped into someone outside of the store, Walmart or somewhere, you had a conversation. Turns out they're in transportation. It turns out they control millions of dollars, the movement of millions of dollars of freight. And it just turns out you just applied for your authority and it's about to become active. Guess what? Ding, ding, ding. That's a lucky day. You let them know, hey, I would like an opportunity to move some of your freight for you. Especially particularly in your troubled lanes. What are some of the lanes that you're having difficulty with? Things of that nature. So, I have a question about building business credit for your brokerage and the best ways to go about it. There are tiers and steps. Once you understand the tiers and steps of that, Mr. Anderson, then follow those tiers and steps. We have people in our trainings that are experts at that know a little bit more about it than I do. I don't want to give you the wrong information. But understand a few tiers. You want to start off with some like net 30 accounts, like Granger, Quill, Uline, some kind of gas cards, build up those credit. Because once you get those items and you purchase products from those items and you pay them off immediately, those things get reported to your business credit, right? On your bureau, right? So like TransCredit, Dun and Bradstreet, and Ansonia. I forgot the other one. Ansonia, the three business credit bureaus. So will having a factoring company help with getting potential carriers to know that they would be paid? Yes, because that's a leg up. That is a safety net, if you will. If you can leverage a factoring company as a new freight broker, kind of to give a guarantee to the carriers that they're going to get paid once they turn in the necessary paperwork after delivery, like the PODs or the signed BOLs and any other invoices, then yes, you can leverage your factoring company to pay them up front, as opposed to waiting on your net terms as a broker and the broker waiting on the net terms of the shipper, which can take forever. Sometimes brokers have net terms of 7 days, 15 days out, and this is days after delivery. And then Lord knows how long the shipper's net terms of payment are: 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, right? So if a carrier knows that they can leverage the broker's factoring company to offer quick pay, and then also, in addition to that, some carriers will leverage their own factoring company. Some owner-operators have factoring. So if the broker doesn't offer it, they can use their factoring company. But the thing with the carrier's factoring company is they're going to run a credit check on the broker just to make sure that they are factorable, and then they can extend a line of credit to them in order to pay the driver for their service of picking up freight and delivering it. So, yeah, those are some of the nuts and bolts of doing this in the industry. So you definitely want to pre-plan and set those things up. So, and some things to consider as a new broker. So yes. All right. Great question, by the way. Great question. Preparing yourself. Always good to think ahead as a freight broker, right? So, any other questions? We got a small group tonight, which is fine. I didn't anticipate. What is this? A Monday evening? I didn't anticipate as many individuals on this particular channel. Has about 7,000, 7,500 subscribers. So, which is fine. But as long as I give you free content and keep you thinking on the lines of a broker who does it right? Because there's a lot of them out here who choose not to do that, right? So, and I got a buddy of mine who's a broker. One of my broker students just sent me a video. He works as a longshoreman at the Virginia ports, and he's showing me he drives what's called a gantry crane, and he sent me a video where he's offloading the containers from the cargo vessels either onto the ground or onto the reach stackers so that they can be loaded onto a chassis. So he does this on a daily basis. He says there's about 3 ships waiting to come in now, and each of those vessels have about, a couple thousand of containers on them of freight. Walmart, Amazon, whatever it is, the major boys coming into the country, right? Of course, they got to clear customs and get past that process, and then get either railed or drayed to the distribution centers. That is called intermodal, right? And you can broker in that space as well. You just got to know how to navigate it, right? So the point with that is there's several ways to get involved in the transportation industry, either globally or domestically, right? You will have to consider which one you want to go in. Well, since we are domestic people, we're here in the country, and you may not have as much knowledge on the global side, the global logistics or international trade compliance and things like that. Focus on the domestic side, and then gradually move your way into the global space. Once you get into the global space, you're probably not going to rely on load boards and shippers like as much, because freight is going to be given to you. So you just have to learn your way. Freight forwarding, customs brokering, certified customs specialists, NVOCCs, which is non-vessel operating common carriers, all types of things, importers, exporters, customs bonds, the process. Everything's a process. So, okay. Coming up on 30 minutes. Great. I thought it was going to be shorter. Interesting. Great questions, guys. And I have a tendency to kind of stretch the answers out a little bit, kind of go into detail. That helps with the time as well. Any final questions? I'm satisfied with 30 minutes. If it goes beyond 30 minutes, I'll be cool with that as well. But 30 minutes was my ideal time for this one. So we good? Freight Broker 101 live free Q&A session, right? Good. Make sure we're good. There's a few of you guys in here, so all your questions were answered, right? People like, oh, answer the questions. Here's your chance. Questions, questions, questions. Questions. And I can be reached at, you're welcome, Mr. Anderson. There's my phone number here. This is very organic, very generic, grassroots, straight to the bottom of it, right? No technical, all the bells and whistles, just get straight to the point kind of thing. When your message is authentic and truthful, there's bells and whistles are not needed, right? So just ask a question, get the answer. Pretty much the same thing, right? Any Jama Mix, any suggestions on where to find shippers? Let's see. Here's a bottle of Pepsi. I drink, which I shouldn't be drinking, but on the back of the bottle, right, is a bottling company. Said where to get shippers at, right? So someone shipped this product. Someone manufactured it, which I'm reading right here. Pepsi Cola. Yeah, PepsiCo. The company's called PepsiCo. Bottled under the authority of PepsiCo Inc. And you just Google that company, right? What's next? How to find shippers. The clothes you wear. Here's a thing of lotion, right? So on the back of this product, it should have who manufactured. The point with this is who manufactures the products that we utilize every day, whether it's something that we consume, we wear, we use, right? So we have companies on all the items that we use, right? So how to find shippers. Now, finding shippers is not the problem. Once you find the shippers, what do you say, right? How do you engage in a way to convince them that you are the person that can solve their problem? Because shippers have problems, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good problem to have to move $1 million of freight from your facility to your customer, because your customer as a shipper is paying for this service. But how can you as a broker get involved in that process? So finding the shippers is not the problem. Once you find them, what do you say? And this is one of the methods. Another method is visiting the actual facilities locally. Google manufacturers, shippers in your area, cold call, all types of things. But I'm looking at a bottle of lotion, Suave, and they got their website here, and they got their company name here, right? Right, distributed by, there we go, I can't pronounce it, Unilever. Yeah, Unilever. And somewhere in Connecticut. It's very, very small. I can't read it, but it's somewhere in Connecticut, right? What else? We got another one. I got a little Dove hand lotion thing that I put on every time from time to time. I know the glare of the light, you probably can't see it, but there it is right there. Right, Dove. So on here, I can read it. And the products, the manufacturers of the products or who ships them, is usually on the back, kind of like small writing, so they won't. But this one, I believe, is probably either Johnson and Johnson or Unilever, Unilever. So that's another one in Connecticut, like the Suave lotion. So Dove and Suave usually come from the same manufacturer, and it gives the address. Yeah, it's in Connecticut. So that one as well. So just go to your cupboard in your kitchen, look at products, where they come from, where they're produced, whether, either raw materials, or in most cases in your house, you're going to have what's called finished goods, right? You have raw materials, intermediate, and finished goods in that part of what's called the supply chain, right? So the finished products are products that raw materials have been brought to a manufacturing facility, and the raw materials were taken, and the finished product was produced, right? So let's say like all these other ingredients like sugar and apples and all dough and all this other stuff was brought to a pie making facility, a manufacturer, and they made apple pies, right? And that's the finished product. The apple pie was boxed up and put into boxes and put into a refrigerated trailer to be shipped to a grocery store chain, right? So the finished product you will see on the back of the product, the apple pie, for this example, who the manufacturer was. It's not going to show who all the raw material resources, where they came from, but it'll show you the manufacturing facility that made the finished product, which is the apple pie. So you can go a step beyond that and go deeper into the source of the apple pie, all the raw materials. Well, where did the apples come from? Where did the dough come from? Where the other ingredients come from? And those are shippers. They're shippers of raw materials. The manufacturing shipper is a shipper of the finished product of those raw materials. You see where I'm going with that? There's levels to that, right? So you just got to know finding the shippers is not the problem. What to say and how to convince them. You know, what lanes are you shipping in? What lanes are you having your most trouble in? Where your problems lie? Can you call on us when you have brokers and their carriers fall off on one of your loads and you need it moved now? Look to us. We have capacity. Most shippers, they deal with capacity, meaning that I need trucks now. Can you provide trucks now? That's called capacity, the trucks, right? Because they have a volume of shipments and they need a volume of capacity or trucks to solve that need of movement or transportation of the finished products to their customers, who are the receivers or the distribution centers or the supply store chains, grocery chains like Kroger's and Costco's and Walmart's and things of that nature. So getting the shippers, there's several ways of doing it. LinkedIn, you can connect with logistics people, suppliers, shippers, manufacturers on LinkedIn, connect with them. If they respond to your connection by accepting your connection, guess what? That's a warm lead. It's no longer a cold lead or a cold call or a cold inquiry. It's now a warm lead. So now you introduce yourself. Hey, this is John Mix Brokerage or Logistics, whatever you call yourself. And then you get into your spiel or your script of what you want to say to convince them to continue that conversation to the point of turning that lead into a conversion, someone who's a shipper now for you and provides you with loads. You have some shippers who put brokers on their email list. They have a ton of brokers on the email list, and they have a ton of loads. They just throw the loads out there, and whichever freight broker those loads stick to, in other words, who have the capacity to meet them, those are the ones they'll go with, right? You have other shippers who throw lanes out there for brokers to bid on. And if you don't know how to bid on certain lanes, how to give a fair rate based off of what the market indicates, the contract market or the spot market, right? So there's different levels to the shipping concept as well. So, question: what's the difference between shipping and logistics? Pop quiz. What is shipping and what is logistics? See where you guys at. Explain to me what's the difference between shipping and logistics. And we'll understand what that means, right? Shipping and logistics. Put that in the chat. What is the difference between shipping and logistics? Okay. And I'll read you the answer. I got one over here. Shipping is the physical movement of goods, right? Shipping is the physical movement of goods, while logistics is the management of the entire shipping process, right? You guys agree with that? Shipping, I'm gonna put it in here in the chat, is the physical movement of goods or finished products, right? While logistics is the management of the entire, and you need to know this actually, entire shipping process. And it gets into another word too, what's called supply chain or supply chain management. What is supply chain? What are the tiers in supply chain? What are the levels of supply chain? Where in supply chain you guys fall? We fall in transportation part of the supply chain. You got raw material, manufacturing, raw materials, procurement, manufacturing, distributing, transportation, and then customer service, obviously, right? We're in the transportation realm of the supply chain, and the chain has different links. All the links have to uh, connect. You know, one break in that link, the chain is messed up. So, supply chain management, who manages that, right? We're in transportation. Transportation involves shipping, it involves logistics, things of that nature, right? So, what role do freight brokers play in supply chain? Ever thought about that? Right? Things to think about. Okay. Any other questions? But that was a good example of how to find shippers, right? You just break out something that's just you can look anywhere in your house on the back of the label and see where it was either distributed or manufactured. So it either had to have been distributed or manufactured. Well, this is distributed, right? The manufacturing of this product, it came from somewhere to the distribution center to be consolidated into a volume of these, a case of sodas, right? Pepsis. So to be distributed to the retail stores, right? But where was the beginning of this product manufactured? Is the question, and that's also a shipping facility because that they had to have gotten their raw materials from shipped from somewhere. So you can broker that, and then you can broker the fact that they manufactured the finished product at that location. So those finished products have to be shipped somewhere. So a broker can come in there and provide capacity there. They can provide capacity at the raw material stage, anywhere in the chain, right? We're particularly focused on the transportation stage of that supply chain as freight brokers, right? So very good. Um, any other questions? Any suggestions where to find shippers? That's a great question. So LinkedIn, cold calls, visiting facilities, Googling shippers and manufacturers in your area, and either setting up a time to visit them locally. And when you visit someone to talk to them, a shipping person, these are human beings. Take something, some pens, a box of donuts, something, right? A goodie bag. Shippers like receiving things, gifts, right, for their time, right? And that kind of like that breaks the ice, if you will. And then they'll be more susceptible to listen to you, right? I know it sounds strange, but believe me, it is so true. So, right, there you go. Okay. Freight Broker 101 training for beginners, live, free Q&A tonight, right now. You ask your questions. I do my best to answer them on a basic level of freight brokering. You are welcome. Hopefully that helped you, John my mix. So we good? I will go ahead and get off of here. Hopefully you guys have some questions answered. The next time I may come on here, you'll have some more questions. We can get into some more deeper detail. How many of you are, well, most, all of you are subscribers to the channel, otherwise you wouldn't be in here. But are any of you enrolled into the Freight Broker 101 training for beginners? Right now we're having a 20% off sale, but I don't know if any of you are enrolled into the Freight Broker class, the 90-day self-paced online training. Mr. Anderson, very good. Hopefully we are meeting your expectations. And we'd like to thank those who are enrolled. Thank you. Those who are subscribed to this channel, of course, thank you. Those of you who are subscribed to the channel but are not enrolled, please consider us to get your questions answered, help you apply for your broker authority. Even if you're not enrolled, but you're subscribed to the channel, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. I'm not going to deny answering a question because you're not enrolled in our course. That's kind of petty. But I'll answer your questions, of course. And I'm very reachable, transparent, all of those accolades. I'm just putting my email in here again, websites, and uh, other contact information, phone number. So, okay. All right, guys. Thanks again. Um, Bring others to the channel. Have them subscribe to the channel to have some questions answered. I'll start. I'm gonna start putting out more content. So, hey, what's up, Darius? Long time. He is the best in the transportation industry. Well, I'm humbly appreciative of that comment, that statement. I just do my best to answer the questions the best way and the most truthful way that I can. If I don't know an answer to a question, I will tell you, but I will also find the person or people that I associate with who do know the answer to particular questions. There has not been a time where my two resources that I rely on in those particular times where I can't answer questions, there has not been a time where I asked them the question that I couldn't answer, that they did not, or they were not able to answer. So there's never been that time. So you have a backing of a network of experts behind me. I don't want to call myself an expert, but I'm just saying people behind me who's been in the industry for 2 years, the other one being close to 40. So there you go. And not much has changed. It's just the time frames and the evolution of the market, the industry from a broker side and from a carrier side, transportation. So both of my mentors, as I consider them, and friends, are very good at what they do. So, all right. But again, thank you, Darius, for that comment. Hopefully, you are doing well. All right. All right, guys, we are approaching 50 minutes now. Wow. I didn't expect an hour. I thought 30 minutes. Very good. Definitely is the best and extremely helpful and provides a great community to be a part of. Yes, we do. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We do have a Freight Broker 101 members only group on Facebook as well. So when you enroll, you're also eligible to join that group of like-minded freight brokers to discuss ideas and help each other along your journey. We also have our live Zoom trainings for our members who are enrolled every second and fourth week of each month, Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in a different time zone than that, you just be mindful of, Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern is 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific. So you just got to be mindful of the time zone to match our time zone of the trainings. And sometimes we let guests come in as well. So some of the content we let guests. And it's all basic foundational freight brokering because I think that's important. You need that in order to solidify your groundwork before you spread and go in a certain direction, a certain niche or niche, certain demographic as a broker. So, and going after those shippers, getting that freight and keeping it moving. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and allowing me to share what I know with you in the form of Q&A. All right. For those of you I've put in the chat and I have it in our in the description of this video who are interested in enrolling in the course, we have a 20% off sale from now, 4th of July celebration, which has been gone, but from now until the end of the month, July 31st. I think next month, my wife's birthday month, I might go to 30%. Right now it's 20%. So we try to pass along savings to you as well to make it affordable for you to enroll. I might do half off next month for the broker course. So, right. All right, I think that's it for me. I think I've lulled you guys to sleep enough. All right. So enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe out there, and look forward to you guys considering enrolling. If you have any questions outside of this live, reach out to me. Email, phone number. Uh, I'll be happy to talk to you. Okay. All right. Have a great evening.